Hey everybody, it's Emily from Life So Savory, and today I'm going to be sewing up a pattern of mine that I actually haven't sewn for a long time, and I'm excited because my daughter needs some new fall clothes. So we are going to get a little bit of my business done here, and then I'm going to get sewing. So you can see in the link in this description where it says that I'm going to be sewing the Rosey Dress, which is one that, again, I have not sewn for quite a while. And so I'm excited. I always like sewing things that I haven't done. And so if you want to see more about it, you can click through. Like I said, while you're waiting, I'm just going to do a couple of shares here. And then we'll get started. So I'd love to hear what you're up to on this beautiful fall day. I am, I think, doing well here. Just trying to get some things done, and so I have a new corduroy skirt in the works, and I am super excited about that. I'm working on that there'll be both a women's version and a kids version. So the kids version will be released on Friday, so I'm kind of in the middle of that version, or that pattern, and then I will be releasing the women's version next week. So if you're looking for a cute skirt, I'll be making it out of corduroy, but anything, you know, similar to corduroy would work. And there's some really fun fall corduroy prints out there right now, which was what inspired me to do this. So, all right, so we are going to be sewing, like I said, the Rosey Dress, and of course, it's named after my daughter, and I have not sewn this one in quite a while. So I am excited. Why is this not giving me what I want? Okay. All right, so we are sewing, like I said, the Rosey Dress. There's a coupon for 30% off this pattern if you are interested in the description of this video, so you can check it out and use that coupon code. I think it's just Rosey Dress, all one word, when you check out, if you want to get 30% off if you're looking to buy this. So this is a great pattern. It has short sleeves. Today I'm making the long sleeve, of course, for fall. You can also make it as a dress or a skirt. And this is one that's been around for a long time. So this is not a new pattern, but I have not sewn it for many, many years. So I just thought I would sew it up. Rose is in desperate need of some fall clothes, and so we're gonna make it. So I'm sewing up the dress version, and we are using this adorable sweatshirt fleece. So look at how cute this fabric is with the stripes. And then I'm using contrasting bullet knit fabric for the wet waistband. It's light pink. It's you can kind of see it. The waistband and the cuffs and the neckband and all those coordinating pieces. So I've already cut out the front on the fold. The bottom of the skirt, I don't know why I created the pattern piece not on the fold, but I cut it out on the fold because I wanted to make sure I matched the stripes. The back of the skirt, the sleeves, cut out those, the sleeve cuffs, okay, 2 sleeve cuffs there, the neckband, or is this the waistband? Waistband and neckband, And you also need some clear elastic. So, and then pockets, which I actually started sewing a little bit, the pocket pouches. So anyway, we'll continue working on that as we go. So those are all the pieces you need. Again, if you're interested in purchasing this pattern, the link is in the description of this video, and you can use the coupon code, I think it's just Rosey Dress, all lowercase, at checkout to get 30% off the pattern. So if you're interested, it's, I think, sizes 12 months through 8 years, but I'm not sure. It's probably on one of these pattern pieces floating around. I think that's what it is. Okay. It is Kathy. Isn't that sweatshirt fleece so fun? So I got maroon from them, and I thought it would go together, but actually it really doesn't. So I'm using it with this, and then this is bullet fabric that I got in a mystery box from Sincerely Riley, which I also like doing their mystery boxes because it's a great bargain. All right, so I started the skirt because I was testing my fabrics and my stitching here. So I have one pocket put in, and you can see on the back, it's just a shallow little pocket pouch. It's not a big one. You could make it deeper if you wanted, but I'm gonna go ahead now and sew the other pocket pouch on, and then we'll get started on the construction of the top. Okay, so I'm gonna take my skirt on the right side, and I take my pocket pouch that I've put these two pieces together, and the right side of this is actually the inside here where you don't see your seam. So to put right sides together, it's a little bit, you have to just move the pocket out of the way. And then we're gonna line up that curved edge, and we're gonna sew it on the serger. So let me make sure you guys can see that edge. And like all of my patterns, this one includes a 3/8 inch seam allowance. And then you should be able to flip it open and line it up and kind of see the edge of the pocket there. Okay, so looks cute, and I'm going to take this over and top stitch like I did on the first side of the pocket. And I'm using my cover stitch for top stitching. If you're using your regular sewing machine, you're gonna wanna make sure you're using a zigzag or a twin needle with this knit fabric. So sweatshirt fleece is not super stretchy, but this one has pretty good stretch, you know, one direction, and then the other direction is not as stretchy. But this pattern is great for some of the fun fall fabrics like French terry, sweatshirt fleece, as long as it does have a little bit of stretch. If it's got no stretch, which I know I've made joggers before and I thought, oh, this is gonna work, and then I realized, oh, the fabric that I'm using has absolutely no stretch. So this one does need a little bit of stretch. I don't know if that stretch information is probably not in the pattern. Again, this is one of my earlier patterns, so it may be missing a couple of those details that I've since learned is important to put into the pattern. But so there's the top stitching, and then we're gonna go ahead and just put a couple clips in here to hold this in place while we create the rest of this skirt. And then we'll sew it into the side seam and the top seam later. Okay, so there's now the finished front of our skirt with two pockets put on. And this bullet isn't exact, but it's pretty close, and it's a nice soft fabric. So I thought it would make a fun coordinating fabric for this. I did not buy them with the, well, one was from a mystery box, so I didn't buy it with the intention of doing anything with it. But I did get it. Okay, so I'm going to, while I just have these things right here, I'm going to take the sleeve cuffs. So sleeve cuff pieces, and this still says Naptime Creations. You can tell that's an older pattern when it still has the old site name on it, but it's still the same. It's still me. And I'm going to take the sleeve cuff and fold it in half, and I'm going to clip it to either side of the end of the sleeve. All right, and then we're going to stretch and sew this on, and that will be on the end of the sleeve cuff. It is weird today. I am getting notifications on my screen every time one of you is watching. So-and-so is watching, so-and-so is watching. I feel like I don't normally get alerted. Every individual person. And then with any cuff, oh, that looks really cute on there. Really cute. You can decide if you want to top stitch that or you want to just leave it open, up to you. But this fabric, you guys, it's pretty thin, but it is the softest sweatshirt fleece ever. And we have some cooler days, a little bit cooler days coming up next week. So it's going to be great to start transitioning into some of those fall pieces. Right now, my daughter is just wearing all of her summer clothes with like leggings underneath on the cooler days. Try and stay a little bit warmer. It's not like she's out a lot, but for recess, misplacing the scissors. Okay, so there is sleeve number 2. How cute is that with such a fun little cuff? I have enough of this to make myself something, and I'm so excited to do that. Okay, so now we take the front. Okay, that looks really wide, but we're gonna go with it. And the back can be a looser fit. So if you've seen me sew for my daughter before, you know that she is of normal height, but she's extremely thin. So she's adopted from China, and she's got no hips, and just, you know, is the cutest little thing ever, but she is of normal, you know, size 6'7" height. So one of the advantages of sewing for your kids is whether they're wider and shorter, or taller and thinner, or just a really odd size, you know, we can customize things for them by sewing that is very hard to fit when you're buying clothes from the store. So I recently bought her some jeans for school, and I bought size 6'7", which the length fits her great, but if they did not have an adjustable waistband inside, you know, like that button waistband, they would be an absolute disaster around the waist. And already as it is, they're cinched up so much that, you know, there's like gathers all around the waist. So it is very interesting, but also, you know, if you can sew and are willing to adapt patterns a little bit, it's a really great way to be able to custom fit your kids with very little effort if you're already sewing for them. So this dress, I've cut one size smaller than she is. I'm cutting it to be size 5, and because that fits her waist measurement, but I did cut the size 6 on the length, and this goes up to size 8. So there's one size larger that I could continue to make for her in the future. And this pattern actually does have a neckband piece. Where did I put it? That you can cut. But you know me, I would rather do it by feel and stretch than a pattern piece, because every fabric stretches differently and lays different, and I feel like any pre-made piece, depending on what fabric you're using, may or may not actually be a really good fit. So, all right, let's top stitch this so it lays down nicely. So I'm going to turn the seam allowance over towards the main part of the top. And right now on my cover stitch, I have a narrow 2-needle stitch going. Okay, and so I'm gonna top stitch down that seam allowance with these 2 needles as we go around the neckline. So the original design of this dress has a really cute curved hem with a facing. And I think it's such a cute little look. But today, for just the sake of time and honestly wanting to try something new, I just cut, instead of curving the hem on the skirt to add the facing, I just cut it straight down and I added a 1/2 inch hem allowance. Because normally the facing you just fold up underneath, so there's not really, you only lose the seam allowance, you don't lose the hem allowance, okay? All right, so there, look at, is the binding. Now it's stitched down. You can see on the back. Can someone, oh, I was gonna say, all I'm getting are these really weird, like, so-and-so is watching, so-and-so is watching, every time someone new signs on. So, but I did see someone just comment. Okay, so it's working. There are comments. I didn't know. All right, so again, for those of you who are just signing on, we're sewing up the Rosey Dress pattern, which is on my site. The link is in the description of this video, and also a coupon code for you to get 30% off this pattern if you are interested in buying it. It's a great little pattern for kids size 2 to 8. And it has quite a few options. So you get 2 sleeve lengths, both short sleeve and long sleeve. And you can make it just as a standalone skirt, or you can make it as a dress. And both options are great. So like I was just saying, the original skirt design has a curved hem with a facing. And I am eliminating that because I never have before. And I always like to try just little pattern tweaks and hacks to see if, for some of you who look at that and they're like, oh, I don't want to put a facing on my skirt. Well, can we just, so here's the skirt, you know, instead of having a curved hem here, so usually it had like a curved hem and then it was like a slit, which was cute. But this is just going to be a straight down. So we will check out and see, does that work, or is it a complete flop? Who knows? All right, so there is the front of the tops. The dress top started. It's looking great. We're now going to pin on the sleeve, which of course I took off the pattern piece, which showed me where the front and the back of this pattern. So this is the back. All right, so I'm going to pin this around on the sleeve opening, and then we'll go ahead and sew the sleeves in. Again, it comes with both a short sleeve and a long sleeve version, and the coupon code to get it 30% off is in the description of this video. Were any of you around many years ago when, because I know some of you have been watching for a very long time or have been following my website for a long time, but do you remember when I originally put this pattern out? Goodness, Rose is like, if you want to see pictures of a tiny little Rose, you can check out the post because she is tiny. I think I made like a size 2 for her last time we did this. So it's definitely a little different making a size, well, 5'6", shall we say now? Because it's, like I said, I'm making it a little bit narrower than So I'm going by her measurements, which is how you should always sew. I'm going by her waist measurement, and then I'm making it a little bit taller because I know that even though it says she's a size 5, she is taller than a size 5 will end up to be. And I don't want this to be a mini dress. So, oh, Patricia, that's right. Yep, you have been a faithful follower for a long time. I appreciate you, but I also appreciate all the new friends that we have. And, you know, there's just times I will go back and remember, oh, I haven't, you know, checked this person's website for a long time. And then you're refreshed and find new and fun things. So, all right, so I am sewing on the sleeves right now, easing around those opposite curves. Sleeves are the one place that I really do pin or clip a lot. Otherwise, you know from watching, I do tend to just wing it and not pin or clip too much. But this fabric, you guys, is absolutely divine. The inside is like fleece, but it's nice and thin. So I'm appreciating that it's not going to feel like wearing a full-on sweatshirt. I think it really is going to be light. So what should I make myself out of this? I think I still have at least 1.5 yards, if not close to 2 yards. Any suggestions for something really fun for me out of this fabric? And then Rose and I can be coordinating or actually matching, but I'm not gonna make myself this style of dress, I don't think. I think I brought 3 yards, and this doesn't take all that much fabric for her. Okay, so look at this. It is looking super, super cute. Okay, so we have, the side seams are not sewn, but it's starting to look like a top. My goodness, this would just be an adorable little crop top shirt, wouldn't it? Ah, so cute. Oh, well, Patricia, if I'm gonna have problems, that is the machine that still gives me problems. So, okay, now here is the probably little bit tricky part, since we're not doing the hem. So that would be the trickier part. But what we're gonna do now is sew elastic onto both the bottom of the skirt. Well, I'm trying to think. So the instructions that I wrote several years ago had, this is the way the tutorial reads. It says, sew on the clear elastic. It says, cut the elastic the same as the waistband. So if I measure this, the waistband is shorter than the dress, than the top. So I need to, oh, a cardigan would be so, so cute. I need to gather this top a little bit. So what I'm wondering, now that I've discovered, and some of you have seen this, the beauty of just sewing my clear elastic all with my serger in one step, I'm thinking I'm going to try sewing it all together instead of 2 different sets. So again, the tutorial wants me to gather this a little bit front and back, gather the skirt a little bit front and back, and then sew the waistband on. But I'm going to try doing it all in one. So if you don't have a serger, you're probably going to want to sew it as the tutorial instructs. But if you do have a serger, let's go ahead and look and see how easy this is with this technique. So my serger foot has a little hole in the top, and yours probably does too. Some are square, some are round. Mine is like a weird oval, so it gets a little bit tricky to get that in there, but it goes in. And then what I'm gonna do, we're gonna do this, is we're gonna put the right sides together of the waistband, and I'm gonna put a couple of clips along it to make sure that it's stretched evenly. So the waistband, again, is a little bit smaller than the size of the shirt. And we actually want to cinch it in a little bit because we want the waistband to be fitted around the child. We don't want it too baggy. okay? And we're using the clear elastic for stability. So we could sew this in a circle. I'm just gonna sew the front and the back, and then the front and the back, and then sew up the side seams, and you know, we'll see how that looks. Again, I'm going off the written tutorial here a little bit to try this new technique, but you can always defer back to the original if this makes you uncomfortable. So I'm going to stretch the clear elastic a little bit as I'm sewing so that it does gather. I want it to pull it in just slightly, and then I'm also making sure that I'm pulling my waistband and not pulling the fabric, because we want the waistband to be the same length as the fabric, and it was a little bit shorter. So we don't want anything stretched out. In fact, we want it a little bit gathered in. So that's where we're making sure things are lining up, but not, so you can see it just gathered it just slightly, which is great. That looks super cute. And you guys, this is amazing. So the clear elastic is now sewn right into that serger seam. So if you have a serger and you want to get better at sewing clear elastic, you have to check out this technique. It's absolutely amazing. You can find all the details by searching clear elastic on Life So Savory, and there'll be an actual tutorial walking you through what I just did. If what I just did didn't make sense. So, all right, now we're gonna do the back. So I'm once again clipping the waistband along the back of the shirt, stretching it out evenly, and we're going to sew it, and we're going to pull the clear elastic to gather it slightly as we sew, rather than using the clear elastic to gather before sewing on the waistband. So, of course, you could do either method. I'm just experimenting with doing it all at once. And we will see, we'll see when we get it all finished if it really is good or not. Okay, so there's the waistband. Let's see. On the front. Okay, so there it is. And now we want to take the front of the skirt and do the same thing, stretch and sew. So here's where it might get a little bit tricky, because is it going to be hard for me to stretch the waistband to match the skirt now that it's already sewn onto the top, right? Because it's a little bit harder to stretch because I have the resistance of the clear elastic. So I might get myself into trouble here. No one try this until you see it might have been easier to pre-gather the top and the skirt and then sew the waistband on. All right, let's match up this first end. You guys are probably like, she is crazy to be trying this and not know what she's doing. Yeah, I don't always know what I'm doing. Sometimes inspiration strikes and you just have to go with it. Okay, so now I'm pulling the skirt to put it together in a few places. Again, remember, I want the waistband to be stretched the same length as the skirt. The skirt is wider than the waistband because we want that waistband to cinch in, and we're using clear elastic to help give us some structure in this waistband. Okay, so I've got it clipped on in several places, and you can see here upside down, top, waistband, skirt. Okay, so let's see if I can stretch this. My clear elastic is still in here. Okay, it just kind of feeds out the back, and you do waste a couple inches. You can see on either end of the seam, you know, you'll have a little tail. So you do waste a little bit of that. Does anyone hear that alarm going off in my house? So every day at 1:30, one of my children has a watch alarm that goes off, and I'm almost always in the middle of something, and so I never track it down and find it, which means every day I hear an alarm go off and I don't do anything about it. It's been like 2 weeks. I know some of you that would drive you absolutely batty, but I only think about it. It doesn't go off very long. It's already done. But, all right, okay. So I'm trying to talk and sew. I'm stretching the clear elastic, making sure the waistband is stretched. Okay, I'm getting that top of that pocket is now being enclosed in the waistband. Okay, so we're stretching and sewing. It is a little bit harder to stretch the second side of the waistband because the first one is anchored to the top, but I think I managed to achieve a pretty cute little look there. So look at those pockets, so cute. Okay, so that's obviously with the light shining through, you can see everything. But actually the back of the waistband I think is gonna lay pretty nicely as well. Okay, so now we have to do the same thing with the back of the dress and then see if we made the right decision to sew up front and back and sew the side seams separately, or should I have sewn it into a circle and then put the clear elastic in the waistband on in a circle? It is too late now for me to turn back. So we're plowing ahead with this plan and seeing how we do. Okay, so the back of the skirt, we're gonna pin that on. And pin it to the waistband, not to whatever that was. All right, so this is our last piece that we're putting the clear elastic in, and the back of the skirt is, would my clear elastic and your new method work around legs in an ice skating outfit? So I have tried it, done this, stretch it and put it around like a swimsuit, which would be similar to an ice skating outfit. And it does, but I wouldn't use this kind of clear elastic. This kind of clear elastic that I'm using right here is actually not very supportive. It just is a little bit. I have another type of clear elastic that is much more supportive and that I would use it if I was actually going to use it in a leg opening or something that I wanted. This one is just providing stability. It's not actually replicating elastic. So I would use a much thicker type of clear elastic if I wanted it to replicate elastic in like a bathing suit or ice skating outfit. And then sometimes my machines get a little bit weird because then if you sewed it on, you'd have to flip it over and top stitch that leg opening. And I've had before where my machines don't really like to stitch through the clear elastic in top stitching. Sometimes they get weird. So I would just play around with that a little bit before you totally committed to that method, but you definitely should experiment with sewing clear elastic like this. Honestly, even if you had 1/4 inch regular elastic, you can thread it through just like this. As long as it's narrow elastic, you can put it through that hole and you can sew it right on in one thing. And it holds it all in place. I mean, you can see I'm not like fighting with the elastic to keep it where I want it. It is so, it just like stays where it's supposed to. So that's what I love about it. All right, so the back of the skirt is wider than the front. So we're gonna have a few more gathers here on the back than we did on the front for the same size waistband, okay? But the skirt fabric was a little bit wider. keep it all in place. All right, so I hope that answered the question about that. Again, yeah, I would just play around with it and see. And I did not make up this way of putting on clear elastic, but I saw someone do like a Facebook, or I saw a video or something of someone doing like this on Facebook, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I need to do that. Okay. So, back of our dress, front of our dress. You guys, this is so, so adorable. Will it turn out? All right, so now I'm going to cut off my clear elastic and sew it out to get it out of there. And what I'm going to do now is, with right sides together, sew up the side seams and see how the waistband lays. I think I liked the idea of doing the clear elastic all in one. I think if I did it again, I would sew the side seams of the skirt and then the side seams of the top. And then I would sew the waistband into a circle, and I would sew the clear elastic on to the circle. I think. I don't know if I'm gonna like having the clear elastic sewed into the side seam. The real test will be when my daughter puts it on. Does she flip out because is it like weird or bumpy? I don't know. I mean, the clear elastic is completely enclosed in the thread, so it really isn't that big of a deal. I'm just not sure. Okay, so I'm now sewing down the side of the dress. So when I get to the waistband, I'm going to make sure that both of the seam allowances are folded into the waistband so that they are providing stability in the waistband and not flipped up towards the dress. So that is what I'm doing with the seam allowances. And you want to make sure you catch that clear elastic really well. Okay, we don't want any clear elastic walking. Not that it's going to go anywhere, but. And I attempted to match my stripes on the side of this dress, so I'm trying to also keep the stripes matched. You guys, there may just be like one too many things going on right here. Can I match the stripes? Can I sew the pocket? Can I keep the waistband organized? Whew, made it down one side of the dress. Might not have survived that, but okay, looks okay. We did it. I don't know if I should. So here's where the waistband was joined. Looks like we have a slight difference in our seam allowance. So the front waistband is a little bit longer than the back. And my stripe matching isn't perfect here for the blue stripe, but I did get back on going down. So, okay, whew. Let's do the other side, and then we'll hem it and we'll check out how it is. And then I will have Rose put this on later and show it off to you guys. I'll post a photo of the finished product on my daughter in the Life So Savory pattern group on Facebook. So if you're not in my pattern group, sorry, I forgot to put a link in the video. Usually I try to do that. But if you search Life So Savory pattern group on Facebook, you will find it. And that is where I'll share the photo, because for some reason I'm not able to add photos to the comments on this live video after I'm done. I can add links in the comments, but I can't add photos. So I'll add the photo in my group. And the coupon code is actually good all the way through the weekend. So if you are like, I don't know, how is this actually gonna look? I wanna see it on her. I wanna see it on someone. Just go ahead and wait. I'll repost the coupon code as well as, I'm gonna line up that blue stripe here. I'll repost the coupon code as well as the model photos of this evening. And then you guys can really see what you think, okay? So matching the stripes on this is fairly easy because the fabric is thin enough that I can just barely see through a little bit to see if my stripes are lining up, which is good. All right, whew. That was kind of stressful sewing those side seams. So again, not sure if that was the best way to do it, but it's what I did. Okay, so there we have a super cute dress. This, well, I think the fabric is cuter than anything. Might be cuter than my dress. But really cute. I'm excited to try it on. So I'm gonna go ahead and, let's see, I have some unfinished seams here on the cuffs. So I'm going to finish those, serger seams, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hem it, and we'll take a look. Thanks, Michelle. Yes, I think it's turning out really cute. Hopefully Rose likes it. Eventually there's gonna be a day where I can't just sew her stuff and expect her to wear it. I'm sure I'll have to like get her opinion first so I don't waste time and fabric. Or I'll just have to start sewing for other little girls who still want things. But hopefully she's not too old to be opinionated yet. Too opinionated. Okay, let me bring this a little bit closer so you can actually see what I'm doing on the cover stitch. So I had this threaded for a narrow 2-thread stitch, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to widen it a little bit and put this through the outer needle. So for the hem, I have a nice wide stitch. So it's still 2 threads, but I'm just widening that. Which I think will give me a little bit better stability on my hem. And I hope it's a good length or width of hem because I'm just gonna hem it. I'm gonna turn it up on the edge of the pink, which I cut both the front and back so we can use that stripe as a guide for hemming, which means I'm sewing on the white and I have pink thread in here. So hopefully we get a nice looking hem. And then I like to go back and you can double check and see that your loopers are not too loose and it's looking really good. I'll give you a close-up of that when we finish, but I do like using the wide stitch for a hem. It really makes sure it catches that fabric and binds up any raw edges. That we might have of the fabric. So, you know, with knit, it doesn't really fray. So I'm usually not super concerned about raw edges, but it is such a nice finished look when they are all bound up on the inside. And I will show you a close-up in a minute. So, all right, we're coming back around. And I will overlap where I started. Secure those stitches. And And then with my cover stitch, I do like to, I usually tie off the stitches in the back. The user manual says all you have to do is overlap by an inch or two, but I always like to give it a little extra tie. Okay, Lois, so I don't know if it's advisable or official, but I leave all the needles in. And then I always use the far left one. And then I rotate between the middle and the outer if I don't want to use all 3 threads. So personal, totally unofficial opinion there. Okay, so that is the hem. There is the bound fabric on the back side. And here is the very cute finished dress. So you guys can see this is not a high-waisted dress. It is definitely low waist. It will sit down on her actual waist. And we've got cute little pockets. Again, I chose not to do the curved side or curved hem. The hem as written curves up, has a slit and a curve on the side seams, which is actually really cute, but I just tried to keep it simple with the basic shape of the skirt, and I hemmed a 3/4 inch hem. So you can grab this pattern. I think with the coupon code, it comes out to be like $4.20 or something super cheap, maybe $4.30. It's a great deal right now. Sizes 2 through 8 or 12 months, might be 12 months through 8. Let me see my, oh yeah, 18 months. 18 months through 8 years. You can grab it. It's cute. Pick up some fun fall fabric, sweatshirt fleece, French terry, even like a knit with a good weight. I wouldn't make it with like double brush poly or jersey that's super drapey, but if you have cotton lycra or something that has a really good weight to it, you could totally use knit with that. And you can make yourself up a really cute dress. So I'll be sure to share the modeled photos of this later. And I'll be back next week with another fun sewing tutorial. Sarah, my cover stitch is the 35-55. So it actually can do a double looper like sportswear. But right now my upper looper got knocked and is not calibrated. So it doesn't loop correctly. So I'm just using it as a single cover stitch. I either need to mess with it or I need to take it into the shop, and I simply have not done that. So, but it got knocked in a move. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I super appreciated having you watch this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed seeing how easy it is to sew with clear elastic and getting some fall pattern inspiration. And I will see you guys back here next week. Maybe I'll sew something for myself next week, or maybe we'll be sewing corduroy skirts. I don't know what it will be. I'll decide later, but I hope to see you then. And I hope you have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.